All right, now we're broadcasting. Okay. Cool beans. Let's get to it. You guys good? Any questions?
No,
Nope.
I'm good.
All right. Let's get started.
Noise.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to That Pixel Life, the podcast that explores video games, its industry, and its culture. This is episode 5, and I want to apologize to you guys for the delay on this episode. We had some scheduling snafus, and we wanted to make sure everyone had a chance to participate in the episode, so we decided to delay this a day. Hopefully that didn't bother anyone's Thursday mornings who were listening to the show and looking forward to it, but we got it out there. It's all good. This episode is going to be a little different. We got a lot of industry stuff to talk about. There's a lot of news and rumors and things that dropped this week, and we want to go through all of those and really dig into them and discuss them. So we're going to keep our weekly consultation segment very short this week. So that way we have a chance to hit all these news stories and not run too long and all that good stuff. So my name is Josh Faulkner. Thank you guys again for tuning into the show this week. If this is your first time listening, I hope you guys enjoy what you hear. Definitely give us some feedback. Also, thank you to all our Patreon supporters as well who may be listening to the show live via YouTube right now. So thank you guys for your continued support. We got Zach Anderson out right now. Hopefully he will be here shortly, though. He had sort of an issue with his kids that he had to deal with that was unforeseen. So we're going to go ahead and continue on without him, and hopefully he'll hop on here within like the next 30 minutes or so, and you'll get your Zach fix this week. But otherwise, we got Shannon Moore over there. Hi, Shannon.
Hey, what's going on, Josh? How you doing this week?
I am good, sir. How are you?
Oh, I'm loving life. I got my controllers and my motor set in the machine room for my elevators, so we're ahead of schedule. So I'm happy. I'm just tired, dirty, but happy.
Dirty but happy. All right,
Yep.
I like it. And we got Elena Grimm over there. Hi, Elena.
What's up, man? How's it going?
I'm doing wonderful. How was your week so far?
So far, so good. I'm just glad it's almost over.
I have tomorrow off, so I'm
lucky.
Why? Lucky duck.
I'm hoping to partake in some Black Panther. I plan on
Nice.
picking that up. And yeah, so we'll see how it goes. I'm really kind of thank God Zach's not here right now because he would give me a lot of shit for this, but I kind of want to pick up Hyrule Warriors for the Switch.
Why?
You should just say everything now. Exactly everything now.
No. I'm texting Zach right now. You need to get him on this chat.
I need the contrarian. Come on, come burst my bubble, please. I need it.
His rage is building, and he's just running.
He's like in his house right now. He's like, why am I angry?
Yeah, I don't know, man, because I didn't play a whole lot of the Wii U version, and I really wanted to, and it seems like it would be a fun game to play portably, but I don't know, I probably won't pick it up, but the temptation has definitely been there. So
save your money. There's plenty of good games coming out next week.
I know, but I don't know, man. That's screaming at me. I'm a Nintendo hoarder, man. I can't help it. I just want to buy Nintendo shit. I just want to throw them my money, even though they don't treat. They're like that girlfriend you have that doesn't treat you very well, but you still want to keep buying her shit. I don't know.
She has her ways.
Could we tattoo? Could we give you a tramp stamp of Nintendo, just like right across the bottom there?
The sad thing is, I'm more of a Sega fan than I am anything, but they betrayed me and became shitty. So I mean, I can't stand over them anymore. So Nintendo's all I got.
I'll tell you right.
To support them.
I was gonna say, I'll tell you right now, my dad feels the same way about Apple. He's been carrying an axe for like 40 years now. It's ridiculous.
Really?
Like that first Apple came out and he bought it for like, I don't know, it was like $800 back in like 1980 something. And that was a lot of money. And I think like the week after, maybe 2 weeks after he bought it, the Apple IIe came out and he tried to return it and they wouldn't let him return it for the upgraded computer. And ever since then, he's hated Apple. Like he will not buy an Apple product ever again because of that.
He's old grudges, man.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I know what it's like to be jaded or be scorned by a beloved franchise.
I remember my dad had the biggest grudge, like a 30-40 year grudge on Domino's Pizza. because like back in the 70s, one day, like he bought a pizza from Domino's and he lifted up the lid of the box and there's like a spider that came down on a web in the box.
No way.
And ever since then, like he would refuse to eat Domino's. So when I was a kid, I never had Domino's pizza because they were refused to buy it because of that fucking spider in the 70s that came out of the box.
You should thank him.
Yeah, I eat the hell out of Domino's, man. That's probably my favorite fast food pizza chain.
That's probably why you like them so much, is because it was like forbidden fruit when you were a child.
Yeah, I don't know. It's that magic they put in their crust. There's something to put in the crust. It's just it's
right. It's that garlic, man. They got that garlic shit, and I love that. Oh man,
the garlicky, powdery stuff that's like glazed on there.
I love that garlic crack, man. It's something I'm very into.
Yes, absolutely. So let's go into some housekeeping real quick before we get into all the fun here. So head on over to thatpixellife.com for episode archives, important links, stuff like that. You can follow us at Twitter at thatpixellife, where we're talking about games. There's a lot of show updates, stuff like that. You can interact with us there, give us some feedback, shoot some DMs, whatever you want to do. Check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/thatpixellife. You can help throw some money each month to help promote the show, keep us on the air. And we reward you with being able to listen to the show live on YouTube each week and get the archive video exclusively for a week as well before we release it to the public. So you get some perks. And just as an update, we do have a State of the Podcast episode, another one that just hit on Patreon as well. And that's for all Patreon tiers. So it kind of gives you a inside look at what's going on with the podcast and what we're kind of changing and tweaking and stuff like that. So since you guys support us financially, we kind of give you an inside look at what's going on there with those. So there's a new one up right now you guys can watch. Also, you can head over to our YouTube channel, just search out That Pixel Life and find it there. You can also go to thatpixellife.com. There's a link to it there. You can watch the video versions of this podcast. You can subscribe on iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Pocket Cast, and then we are going to be submitting this show to Spotify tonight, since we just hit our 5th episode. Yeah. So hopefully we'll be on there, and pay attention to our Twitter account, and we will announce it as soon as it is up. I'm not sure how long it takes. It takes about a couple weeks or so, but we'll let you guys know as soon as it's on Spotify. We have an iTunes review, a new one from Dallas Gibson. So thank you, Dallas, for submitting that review for us. We appreciate it. And guys, please continue to drop reviews for us if you have a couple minutes to do so. It really helps us climb the ranks, the proverbial ladder on iTunes, and get more eyeballs on us. So if you have a couple minutes and can drop us an iTunes review, we'd greatly appreciate it. One other thing before we move on, we submitted a survey on Twitter yesterday, and we're just trying to get some feedback on the show so we can continue to do things you guys like and stop doing things you guys don't like, and just to get some feedback and ways to grow the show. So we submitted the survey. We've had quite a few people fill it out, and thank you for everyone who did fill that out. It is completely anonymous, so I don't know who said what. And if you guys haven't taken it yet, you can go to thatpixellife.com, and there is a link on the right side there to it, or you can go to our Twitter account. We tweeted it out several times. If you don't mind taking that, it takes about 4 or 5 minutes to fill it out. We'd greatly appreciate it, and we're already getting a lot of feedback from that. And we're already implementing a lot of that stuff and having discussions on what to change and just to kind of evolve the show. So we greatly appreciate it. Please fill that out if you have a couple minutes. Otherwise, let's head over to a quick weekly consultation this week. Shannon, I'm going to go ahead and throw it to you, man. Is there anything major you wanted to mention before we move on that you were playing this week or anything like that that you have any opinions on?
No, I mean, I played Super Hot finally because it was one of those games with gold on Xbox. And I liked it a lot. I understand what all the hype was about. It was a fun game. It's not a long game. I actually found myself wanting more. I didn't really care about the story too much. I just kind of cared about the level and the puzzle progression. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I had a fun time. I just wish when they did the high speed replay at the end that kind of showed your moves and kind of brought it into an action type of movie, that it didn't keep flashing super hot like all the time. That was
super hot.
Yeah. But other than that, it was fun. I loved it. And that's all I have to say about that.
I played the game in VR on PlayStation VR. I haven't played the actual non-VR version because they're both different. Mm-hmm. It's the same concept. Is that the levels are different in VR and you play it completely differently because you use your body movements and everything in conjunction with the controls.
Wow.
That game was slick in VR, but I played it on PlayStation VR, and the motion tracking just kept getting thrown off, and it would screw me up a lot.
Mhm.
So that was kind of frustrating, but otherwise I thought the game was super cool in VR, and I actually want to play the non-VR version just so I can see what kind of levels and puzzles they have in there as well. But
Yeah, that's awesome. How quick question, how was the time, how did it move with the VR? So like if you moved your hands, did time progress?
yes.
Or okay, wow.
If you move at all, time progresses. So the bullets
Wow,
come out. You can actually like use your hand and like deflect bullets and stuff. Like if you have a pistol in your hand and the bullet's coming at you, you can swat it away with the pistol.
Sick.
And
Yeah,
you
that's
can
awesome.
bend down and like pick up objects and throw them at one enemy while you're trying to shoot the other and stuff like that.
Wow.
If you move at all, like it progresses time. So if you're just standing still and you're just kind of like, little movements like this, it's not going to really move too much. So that's not a big deal. It's only like major movements. If you can see me on the chat right now, I mean, you'll kind of get an idea what I'm going on with the webcam. But it's your total body is the controller, and you still have the motion controls for like shooting and aiming and stuff like that. But it's incredibly cool, but it freaked me out at times too, because there'd be a puzzle that's starting. It'd be one of those red like bodies just sitting right up in front of you. I'd be whoa, and I'd jump back because it scared the hell out of me.
Did you get any kind of like motion sickness or anything like that?
No. I mean, the game's not constantly moving, so I never really felt that way.
Yeah, that is true. That's one thing I really like about that game is I've never seen a game like that before, and I don't know if I'll ever. That's one of the biggest appeals for me, which is kind of something I'm seeing a lot in gaming, which is just like the same shit regurgitated, and that's one thing I really like about Super Hot is it's not. I've never seen anything like it, man.
Yeah, and that was what was cool about too, because at the end of the level, I mean, the levels are set in chunks, but at the end of the level, it would play everything out like a movie, and all the movements that you're making and everything that plays out was actually your body movements. So it was actually kind of it added like a little bit of extra spice.
Yeah,
that I thought was very cool.
I feel like of all the games to play in VR, that would be the one I'd want to play the most in VR, especially since there's no motion sickness. Because goddamn, I would just.
Yeah. Oh, I know all about some motion sickness in VR. It's affected me. The one that affected me the most was a game called Loading Human, and just moving around in that game made me want to throw up. It was really bad.
Wow. Ooh.
Lena, you got anything this week?
Oh yeah, man! I've just I played and beat God of War, so I'm finally on par with you guys. Yeah, sorry it took a while. I was busy with the move, and oh my god, just life. But
give us your quick overview. What do you think of the whole thing in a nutshell?
I didn't like it as much as I wanted to. There were some issues that I ran into game-wise.
Like the whole game?
Overall, it was a good game. I just didn't like it as much as I thought I was going to. It won't be. I don't think it'll be game of the year for me. Although I do intend on playing it again. And I think once this is one of these games where you have to play it again to really fall in love with it. I had a similar situation with The Last of Us. The Last of Us, I played it and I was like, oh my God, this is a masterpiece. But the difference between this game and that game is I actually wanted to immediately replay The Last of Us. Whereas with this, I'm going to be like, all right, I'm going to put this back on the shelf. I'm going to like want it again and then go back to it at a later date. But I had some issues with like the button prompts in game where you had to like it was a little janky, not in cutscene, but in game itself. And I was just like, fucking square, please. Like, can he hit square, please? So there were a couple of things that I ran into that I wasn't a huge fan of, but the lore was great and the game was great, and I'm just nitpicking, to be honest.
It seems like you're really high on it at first, so I'm surprised you're saying there were some disappointments there. Was it because was it just the ending didn't do it for you, and that kind of soured the rest of the experience?
Maybe that's why I'm so heated about it. There are a couple of other things, but I can't get into it too much without this being a spoiler cast, to be honest. But just repetitive enemies, and we've discussed the trolls in passing, and it just there were certain things where I was like, man, if this is just a little bit different, it would be a game of the year for me. But I just need and it's funny too because you run into the same enemies in Last of Us 2, and I'm not harping on it as I gotta catch myself. So I'll put some thought into it, but I don't want to get into much detail because it will become a spoiler cast if I start to openly criticize. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we'll save that. I
feel like you're the only one with the balls to actually admit you didn't love the game as much as everyone else did.
I don't know what to say, but please don't yell at me, you guys.
I just feel like everyone's so high on it. But yeah, I haven't seen any criticism on it. And I don't think it's a perfect game. I loved it, but I don't think it's a perfect game. But I feel like some people are afraid to criticize that game.
Why wouldn't they be afraid to criticize it? This is a fucking huge game. It's just, I understand where they're coming from, but I'm not afraid to criticize it, even if I get in trouble.
You guys you're not getting in trouble here. I can't speak for the people listening, but
on the Twitterverse, man. Oh my God. They're coming for me.
The only thing for me this week for weekly consultation is I played the Dark Souls network test on PlayStation 4 over this past weekend, and it's Dark Souls. So, I mean, that's really all I can say. The game looked great. I mean, it was crisp and clean. The network test was fine. I did have some problems getting some people summoned into the game, but it was doing sort of the same thing the original game did too, to where like everyone's trying to summon someone at once, and then it would fail for you, and you have to be quicker than everyone else. But the game looks super sharp. You know, the sharpest I've ever seen it run on a PS4 Pro on a 4K TV. It doesn't run at full 4K. I think it's like 1800p or something. But yeah, I mean, it played pretty much the same as you would expect. There's nothing major there. The only thing that I noticed is if you're coming from the PC version, you're probably going to be disappointed with this version of the game, because a lot of this stuff that's in this game, I feel like should have been in that PC version to begin with, but they never implemented in there because the original PC version without mods was garbage. But if you're playing the game on console and you played the Xbox 360 or the PS3 version and had to deal with that god awful frame rate dropping, like especially in Blighttown and Los Azaleas and stuff like that, the game is like a solid 60 frames per second from what I've seen so far, and hopefully they smooth out that frame rate and make it consistently 60 frames and stuff like Blighttown, because that's going to be a big deal for console players. This game is going to feel significantly better for those people that played only there. So I think that's the main plus with this, but I'm still excited to play it. I've beaten that game multiple times on multiple platforms, and I'm ready to go again. Like, it's so replayable, and it's one of my favorite games. So I can't wait for that to drop next week.
What's the longest you've gone without playing like a Dark Souls game?
Would the Dark Souls 3 come out last year?
I
don't think it came out last year. I'd say about a year. Yeah. I don't remember when Dark Souls. I don't think Dark Souls 3 came out last year. I don't know. But yeah, it's been about a year. So I'm down. I'm ready for some more.
You got the itch.
I got the itch. Yes, I sure do. The only other thing I wanted to mention was I got to play an Oculus Rift over the weekend, which I've had PlayStation VR since it released. And that was my whole VR. That's all I know about VR is that, because I haven't played any of the PC headsets, and I didn't want to buy a second headset, for PC. So I got to sit down and play one. I played a game called Robo Recall was the name of the game I played. And, everyone that has these PC VR headsets always talk about how significantly better the experience is on the Oculus Rift or the HTC Vive, and how the PSVR is a gimped experience. It doesn't look as good and blah, 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 and all that stuff. So here, the whole time, I was wowed by VR, but I was thinking I wasn't getting the real experience from it. Like it was just like a downgrade from what you get on the PC versions. I sat down and I played Robo Recall on Oculus Rift. And honestly, guys, I don't really see that much of a difference between the headsets. The clarity isn't as good, it's not like super more clear than the PSVR is. There's still that you got to get the headset on the sweet spot kind of feeling. Then there's still a slight blurriness that I can never seem to get away. I always had that issue on PSVR, and it's there on Oculus as well. The graphics on the game definitely looked better than a PSVR game. I'll give them that. It was more detailed and stuff, but there's still a screen door effect. There's still slight blurriness. I mean, a lot of the problems I have with PSVR were present on the Oculus Rift as well. So I no longer feel like PlayStation VR is like a gimped VR headset. I feel like it's pretty much on par. It's just that you got to deal with not as much horsepower in the PS4 console. So the motion controllers were significantly better though on Oculus Rift, and the tracking was significantly better and everything too. Not half as many problems as you get on PSVR there, but PSVR owners, if you haven't played a PC headset, I really don't think the experience is that much better. So yeah, I think it's great, and it's a good alternative, cheaper alternative to VR for people that want to experience that. So don't buy PSVR and feel like you're getting a lesser headset, because a lot of the problems I noticed on that one are still present on the other ones too.
And it's going to come with that sweet Facebook dating app.
Yeah, I'm gonna love that. Robo Recall was cool because you actually had to fought robots and shooting at them, and some of them you can grab and rip their heads off and throw them and stuff, and you can throw their bodies, and the controllers felt great, the motion controllers, and that's the biggest thing I wish PlayStation VR had, was just better motion controllers. I wish they would release new ones, but otherwise, I mean, we got what we got, and that's what it is. So yeah.
I'm practicing the VR gesture for head ripping and just like,
yeah, it's like rah,
from the inside out, like
nice. You totally do that in that game. It's really.
I was gonna say that's the Doom action right there. The whole like chest ripping open in the middle. Yeah, that
ripping snare stuff. I haven't played the Doom VR game yet. I should check that out, but I heard the tracking is horrible on a PSVR version.
Well, something tells me you'd also be pretty sick because there's a lot of rapid turns in that one. There's a lot of spinning and running and gunning.
They do the warp moving. Like it's not full analog movement in that game. You actually like point a cursor and it like kind of warps you around. So that's how they get around. The Resident Evil 7 does the same thing in VR, but you can actually disable it and have full motion controls. And in that game, I disabled it, and it did make me feel sick, but that was the way I preferred to play it. So I played through almost that entire game in VR, like almost throwing up. So because I mean, because it wasn't Resident Evil to me if I was just like warping around when I moved. Like I wanted full movement, and they give you the options to do it, but it'll make you sick, man.
It's true, because I mean, if you think about it, you would be sick in that world anyway. That game is vile, so being nauseous actually enhances the experience, right? Because I would be queasy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Makes it more real.
Just wear a chum bag around your neck. It's fine.
A little barf bag.
Little casual barf on the side, and then just go back.
Sitting there playing with like a little barf dribble on
all up in your beard. Yeah, just like chunks.
Yep. All right. Well, enough about throwing up and bile. Let's go ahead and move on to the big industry buzz section that we've been teasing here, because guys, this is a pre-E3 season. The floodgates are starting to open on announcements and stuff. And I notice a lot more companies have been announcing stuff pre-E3 than in E3. And we've already got some big reveals this week so far, and some rumors and some news and stuff like that. So a big one that we got today was the Call of Duty Black Ops 4. I keep wanting to call it Black Ops 3 because of the naming, like the four little, Roman numeral signs for 3, but they added a 4 line. I don't know what the hell was going on with that, but they revealed Black Ops 4 today. And I'm going to just quickly go over some of the main points here, and then we'll break it down and discuss it. So the game is back to boots on the ground gameplay. It's still futuristic. It takes place in between Black Ops 3 and Black Ops 2, but there's no more jetpacks and shit. There's no more wall running and boost jumps and stuff like that. It's pretty much just grounded like the old games were. There's 3 modes in the game. They have their main competitive mode that you know and love. They have the zombie mode back that takes place in different scenarios and different time periods. So one of them's like a Roman gladiator like setting, and then there's one where you actually fight zombies on the Titanic. I don't know where that came from. And there's a third one as well that they teased that is like a return from some previous version of the zombie mode that I didn't really understand because I never really was into these zombie modes. So people went ape shit over it during the live stream, but I just didn't really get it because I'm not a fan of it. And then they announced their third mode, which is Blackout, which is their battle royale mode. And they said there's going to be land and air and sea vehicles and stuff in this thing. And they promised that it's not just another battle royale clone, that they're very much making it their own. And they didn't show that mode off, though. They just announced it, and that was it. So maybe we'll see more at E3.
Because it's going to be a hot mess when it comes out.
It might be a hot mess right now. Maybe that's why they didn't want to show it off. Maybe it wasn't in a good playable state yet. I don't know. There's no more auto heal. You have health bars now, and you have to press a button to heal. And they mention how that's going to affect gameplay. So, if you're playing multiplayer and you need to choose between either stopping and healing or reloading your weapon or getting that last shot in the heat of battle, that could really change the tide of the match. So they kind of went into why they removed auto heal and stuff. So that's a big deal. Now you have to hit a button to heal.
It's never going to work. People are just going to play until they get shot. They'll respawn and then they'll run out and do it all over again. Nobody's going to.
You think no one will heal?
No, screw that, dude. Like, I'm not gonna. If I have the choice between offense and defense, I'm going offense all the way in that game. Like, I mean, because you're gonna sit behind this wall and you're gonna heal yourself, and some dude's gonna come around there and just shoot you. Or like, yeah. I mean, or you're gonna get accused of camping when you sit there to try to heal yourself.
Right.
So I mean, then you're gonna have to deal with all these people calling you a camper the whole time. So just run out and get shot in the face and then respawn and just start over. That's what everybody.
I could totally see that happening too.
Yeah, and that's honestly why I like the Call of Duty multiplayer modes, because of how fast paced it is. It's just more refreshing to me. I like the constant dying and respawning and dying, like just how fast everything is. Like, to me, that's fun. I remember with Call of Duty 4, they had that really small map where it was all like semi trailers, like a park, sort of in a way. And it was really small, and they would drop all the players in there, and it was so chaotic, and everyone was dying in like 2 seconds. And for me, that was a blast.
Yeah, like Nuketown. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was much smaller than Nuketown. But Nuketown was a really fun map. So anyways, they're putting a big focus on the shooting physics this time around. So bullet trajectory, the way the guns recoil, stuff like that. They said that they wanted to make sure every gun felt like it had its own learning curve to it to kind of make the game deeper. So they brought that in as well.
So you're taking everything that's fun from the old Call of Duty games and you're just throwing it out, and you're creating this new hot mess that people are going to have to get used to.
That's what I was thinking too. It's like they're getting rid of a lot of stuff that like their core demographic, their core fans are going to be pissed about. You know what I mean? Like,
but when you sit and watch gameplay of it, it really doesn't look that much different to me. Like it looks pretty much the same.
All that matters is how it plays. You know what I mean? I saw the trailer too, and it was appealing, and I was actually kind of pumped. I was like, oh man, is this going to be the one that gets me back? Is this going to be the one that gets me to buy it? My first Call of Duty fucking game in a while. It might. I was pretty into it, so we'll see how it is. But I wasn't really into the whole no auto heal aspect. I think that's kind of goes against what I'm looking for in that type of game.
Yeah, they are making it class-based now, too. So, Landon, that might be up your alley. So there's going to be medics. It kind of reminds me of how classes work in Rainbow Six Siege, like the operators. So, like, the different classes basically control what kind of abilities they have. And they're going to have a medic class, which I love playing as medics. So, to me, that's appealing because I suck at these games. So, if I can just sit back and just help keep the good people alive, that makes me feel like I'm doing something other than just dying constantly and making my team look bad. So yeah, I mean, so the class-based stuff is going to be in there as well, which is interesting. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, so can I be the Eeyore? I hate to be the rain cloud on this thing, but I'm just so
can I be the Eeyore?
Yeah, it's so like the Call of Duty community has always been so toxic online as far as just the harassment you get when you don't do your job well, or when you're playing zombies and you do something stupid. I can only imagine what it's going to be like now that it's class-based. When you don't get a heal or you don't do something right, you're going to get so much crap on through your audio channel. It's just, so now you're going to get hammered with harassment, and you're going to have to listen to somebody's crappy mixtape like while you're playing.
Or deep breathing, like
yeah, like it's just stupid. Like I just
so right.
The more that you the more you tell me about this game, the more it sounds like it's not for me anymore. Like,
sounds like it's bringing back very bad memories for you,
dude. Seriously, like I don't play zombies because I hate the people that play zombies. Like, I'm sorry, I don't sit around for 10 hours a day playing this stupid game. I have a job, I have a life. Like, let me just sit down and play the game and figure it out. Other than that, like, there's no storyline or there's no single player campaign. It's just different multiplayer events that they're trying to push out to people because that's the hot thing right now, and that's what's going to make them money, and it's a cheaper product to put out. And it just, I don't know, there's so much stuff that's just, it just seems like they're going away from their core group of their core audience. And I just think I think this is gonna be a real big meltdown, like when it comes out. I don't think people are going to like the changes, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's like a patch that comes relatively soon afterwards that changes everything that they just said that they were going to do.
I'm just thinking about how many people aren't going to fucking heal. Like, I can't imagine who's going to, I mean, don't get me wrong, Josh, you're a quite rare person to play a healer.
That's the first time I've heard that.
Wait, what do you mean?
No, that's good.
All right. Well, no, I just mean that like nobody's gonna heal. Nobody's gonna heal, especially in that community. And I like what Shannon said about how everybody's kind of. That's exactly how I feel about the Overwatch community. Is you just people kind of shit on you when you don't do it a certain way, their way, even if it's not the right way. They'll get upset, and that's something that was relevant in previous Black Ops games that I played as well. And it's just I'm gonna get stuck healing. I know it because I'm the only one who's going to because I want to win. I want to win. That's all I want, And I just wish more players were like you, Josh, and would heal.
Gotcha. I actually like Mercy a lot in Overwatch too.
Oh, play with me. Play. Let's play.
Yeah. I haven't played Overwatch in a long time. So
Fortnite's too fun, man. Fortnite's pretty fun.
Fortnite took me over. Absolutely. So they did confirm that there is no single player. So the rumors of that were true. They said what they're doing is they're weaving the narrative into all 3 multiplayer modes. Looked like it was more so in the zombie mode than it was any of the other modes. I'm calling bullshit on that one. I don't see how they're going to weave a narrative in those 3 multiplayer modes and actually get people to care, because they promised that they're going to appeal to all gamers with this version, whether or not there's a single player or not. And again, I call bullshit on it. I don't see how they're going to do that. Do you guys think if you're a big narrative driven single player guy, do you think they're going to be able to do anything in these multiplayer modes narratively that are going to get you hooked or interested?
Not me. I don't think so. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. I was going to say is no way in hell that there is going to be anything that they're going to put in that story between all 3 of those campaigns or multiplayer events that's going to make me want to play this game. I'm never going to touch zombies. I mean, like, I might touch the battle royale maybe once or twice, and maybe do the multiplayer until I get fed up with campers and douchebags harassing me online. So, I mean, it's not a game for me anymore. It's not something I'm going to buy, and I'm glad they did this early so I can just, concede that this is not my type of game anymore.
So you know enough now to know that you won't make the purchase once it comes out?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
See, I'm actually at the opposite, because before this was announced, I was like, yeah, dude, no single player. I don't care about this. That's my favorite part of Call of Duty. I like those Michael Bay over the top, goofy, action game story modes that they had in these games. And so I was automatically, not interested, but I saw this and I thought it looked pretty fun. I don't know if I'm going to go out and buy it day one or anything like that, but I definitely was interested in some of the things they were talking about. My biggest thing is I want to see what they're doing with that battle royale mode, because I really like battle royale games, and I want to see how they put their spin on it, but they didn't show us any of that. So I think until they do show us that, right now I'm just very moderately interested in it. But if they really do some cool stuff with that blackout battle royale mode, that might put me over the edge to actually purchase it. So I don't know yet. The last few Call of Duty games I played, the multiplayers did nothing for me. The Black Ops II was the last one where I actually cared about the multiplayer. So we'll see. I don't know. So Shannon, Elena, you guys are a nay. I'm a maybe. I believe that's where we're at.
More or less, yeah. It's nice to know that you and I both quit playing Black Ops at the same time. That's nice.
That was the last one I loved. It really was.
Same.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Shenmue III got delayed to 2019. Anyone surprised by that?
I'm actually happy about it. I'm happy about it. I'm the type of person who's always happy when, not always, but usually happy when games are delayed, because in my opinion, that translates to, I care more about putting out a good game than I care about getting this out while it's quote unquote hot, and I don't mind. I'm okay with it. I've waited this long. I can wait a little bit longer,
Now, Elena, were you a Shenmue fan?
Just lightly, but I'm really excited. Like I will buy this game. You know what I mean? There's a little bit of nostalgia. I watched my dad play it on Dreamcast when I was a wee lass. So there's some love there. A wee lass.
I had this image of you like in a kilt and like a what do you call the thing that they play?
Bagpipes? Playing bagpipes?
Like you like playing a bagpipe while he's playing Shenmue. I'm a huge fan of these games. Like I about shit my pants when they announced the 2 remasters. I've been waiting on replaying these games for that remaster because I want to play them like more modernly, But I was a huge fan of these games. I'm just a big fan of the Dreamcast in general, and I was all about this. So yeah, just the fact that this game is being made is shocking to me and exciting. But yeah, give them all the time they want. That's how I feel, because I want this to be good. I don't want this to be bad. I don't want them to rush it. I don't want them to half-ass it. I want Shenmue fans to be happy with this product, and I want people who kind of shit on Shenmue from the past to kind of eat their words here and actually see that this game could, what it was trying to do back then, but maybe couldn't technologically. Hopefully they can achieve here. But it's a huge bummer because I was hoping I could finally play this game after all these years this year, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen until next year. Now, Shannon, what about you, man? You a Shenmue guy at all?
No, honestly, I've never played any of the games, and I mean, I'm happy for you guys that this is a game that you guys have been waiting for a while, and it's actually coming to fruition. But I know nothing about it. I've never really even seen any gameplay footage of it, other than like some of the box art that you guys put up when you see when you talk about Shenmue III. But no, it's not a game for me. I can't say it's not a game for me, but I've never touched it.
What about the remasters? Will you check those out just to see what the hubbub is about?
Are they cheap?
$30.
For how many? For two of them?
Yeah, for both. Yeah. You're talking $23 with Gamers Club Unlocked, man.
No, it's fine.
I would say I'll wait until I see what the third one does, and then maybe I'll jump into it. But for right now, I got plenty of other games to keep me busy.
Alrighty. Well, Yu Suzuki, keep plugging away at it, man. Give us a good game. That's all I have to say. Moving on, Rage 2. That rumor from last week we talked about was true. We got 2 trailers this week. We got one of just a live action trailer that was very odd. And then we got a gameplay trailer as well that was a complete different take than what we saw from the live action trailer. So that game is actually coming in spring 2019, which surprised me. I thought that would be a this fall kind of game because we still don't know a lot of what's coming out this fall. And this one's spring of next year. Anyone interested in this game at all?
Sorry, go ahead.
No,
Ladies first.
Thank you. No. No, not in particular. When Rage came out, I mean, when Rage came out initially, I think it was like 7 or 8 years ago now. Mm-hmm. It was a yet another game that was like post-apocalyptic, and now it's yet another game. And I'm just sick of that genre for the most part. Like Fallout 4 is just, I'm sick of that kind of. I don't know. I'm just looking for something fresh and new, and I don't feel like I'm getting it with Rage 2. Like, I feel like I'm getting sparks of it. I watched the trailer and it's appealing, but I don't know, man. It's one of those games where I'm gonna have to wait and see. I'm gonna read some reviews and then go from there. Cause the bosses look cool though.
Yeah. I would say, based off of the initial trailer that I saw, that Mad Max like Fever Dream like Pride Parade like kind of thing going on. I was just, oh my god, like I just
Pride Parade. What?
Yeah, it's like there was like rainbows everywhere, and I was just like people like throwing chalk at each other, and I was just like, okay, I don't get it. It's brightly colored, yeah, but I don't know what this game is about. I only vaguely remember the first one. It seemed. From what I remember, the first one, I remember it was post-apocalyptic, and you were shooting stuff, and there was kind of like an open world, but there was nothing really to do in the open world.
Mm-hmm. That was the biggest complaint people had with that game, is that the open world wasn't very fun. The driving, they didn't really like the vehicular combat, stuff like that. This game kind of got poo-pooed on when it released, and I loved it. I fucking love this game. Rage, I think, was in my top 10 that year when it came out. I don't know why, but it just clicked with me. It just worked with me. The shooting mechanics are probably my favorite combat from last year in the first-person shooter as well. I love the little wing thing or whatever they called it, like the little boomerang, little blade thing that you can chop people's heads off and stuff. The shotgun was best shotgun. Like, it was
I love this webcam.
Superb shotgun. I remember every time I shot a dude with that shotgun, it's just like this feeling of power came over me. I was like, yeah, I'm God. Gibbs, I loved it. I don't know. Like that game is everything about the shooting mechanics were so fun to me that even some of the stuff that was kind of shitty about it, I just glossed over because I had so much fun shooting people in that game. And I thought the graphics were really cool at the time. The biggest problem with that game though was the engine, the id Tech 5 engine and the texture issues they had and stuff. But I seriously want to reinstall this game on my PC right now and play it again, just talking about it. So obviously, this game speaks to me. I'm all about it. It speaks to me.
I would agree with you. It seems this one seems like they're doing a little bit more right. I don't know if like maybe the technology caught up to their idea, but it just seems like what they're touting now with the vehicular combat. You know, now there's going to be like flying machines that you can pilot and shoot. Like anything that you see in the game, you can control in some way, shape, or form. The guns, like the power-ups that you can get, will let you overclock the gun, so like there will be extra benefits that you get for firing the weapons. The fact that they're actually incorporating the open world and making it more interactive and immersive, I definitely tend to agree that it seems like they're doing a lot more right this time around. I would like to see more of the gameplay aspects than what I've seen so far. Maybe to see kind of put those the proof to the words that they're touting, or the abilities that they're trying to put into the game. But other than that, I'm hyped. I'm interested in it. I'll give it a go. I mean, I always like shooting things. So
yeah, Avalanche is the studios making this, and they're the guys who made the Mad Max game that came out a few years ago, which I liked. I thought it was pretty. I didn't finish it, but I thought it was pretty good. Love what I played of it. And then they also made the Just Cause games, which I never played Just Cause 1. I dabbled in 2, and I bought 3 and haven't even played it yet. So Just Cause 3 is one of those games I got like on a Steam sale, like dirt cheap for PC, and just never got around to playing it.
It's one of the 200 games that are just sitting, waiting to be played.
I got like well over like 300.
You're like, Elena, it's 200.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Give me a little more credit.
Head
like,
popping up on the screen right now. Like a toasty in Mortal Kombat. Yeah. But yeah, I need to play Just Cause 3. I heard that game's a lot of fun. But yeah, no, Avalanche is a proven studio, and they have a good track record. And I think I think they'll be a good developer. But id Software did the first one, and I mean, look how Doom turned out. Doom was phenomenal, and a lot of people's shit on Rage, and I loved it.
Well,
So
one thing I'm curious about is this game kind of underperformed when it was released initially. So I kind of get like this love child, or not love child, Jesus, too many soap operas. Like, you know what I mean? Like this was made out of love rather than out of like an opportunity to make money. I kind of get that vibe when I watch the trailer and see the gameplay. I'm like, they really wanted to make this.
I get that with a lot of Bethesda games though. Because I don't remember Evil Within 1 selling too well, and they made an Evil Within 2, and it was a lot better than the first one.
That game was like a cult classic, though, right?
I mean, a lot of people hated on that one too. I didn't like the first one, but and then Wolfenstein, like the Wolfenstein games didn't sell that well, and here's even Wolfenstein 2 didn't sell that well, but it was a great game. I feel like they're passion projects for these people.
That's what I was trying. Passion projects.
I really feel. I think you're right. I think they're taking instead of just taking a franchise they created that didn't work and just throwing it away. Like, they're not afraid to give it another shot and maybe check the feedback that people were giving on the last one and try to go from there. I feel like Bethesda takes more risks and it doesn't always pay off for them, but I appreciate them trying. Sort of situation. All right, so let's move on to the next one. Now, this one's a little odd. I'm not sure how you guys feel about this. This is going back to more Nintendo stuff, but apparently there's a rumor going around that Star Fox is the next game by Retro Studios that's coming out for the Nintendo Switch, and that's going to be announced at E3. But here's the thing. This is a racing game, not an aerial combat, rail shooter or anything like you would expect from Star Fox. Now, this isn't the first time that Star Fox has done some weird spin-off. We got a Star Fox tower defense game on Wii U, and we got a Star Fox adventure game, that was trying very hard to be Zelda on the GameCube. So now they may be tackling a racing game. What do you guys think about this? I mean, does this tickle your fancy at all?
I would say I'm interested in it. Not having had a Nintendo for a while, like going from a Super Nintendo, essentially my next console was the Switch, like in that Nintendo world.
What?
Yeah, like I abandoned Nintendo pretty fast. Like
You
once
got
the
a lot of
PlayStation
catching
came
up to
along.
do, homie.
I didn't know
I
that. That is
know.
so
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah,
What?
so I mean,
Why?
like, well, I mean, that's so like the PlayStation came along, and at that time, like, I loved all the games coming out for PlayStation. So why would I? And I didn't have enough money to buy both, so I
Oh,
just
okay.
went.
I was like, why
I
not?
just
But now,
so I made the choice. I went the PlayStation way, and then I never looked back at Nintendo. So there's a lot of games in the catalog that I can go back to. Like, I know Zach gives you guys a lot of crap for repurchasing the same thing like 15 times, but for me, this is the first time playing a lot of these games. So Splatoon 2 was like my first jump in, like all those Nintendo franchises that have been around for a while. I know, mind blown, right?
big bad.
Like
Like this is
I'm enjoying
wow.
it. So I mean, given a star like Star Fox, I haven't played Star Fox since like the first one for the Super Nintendo. So to hear that, there's a racer coming out. I like Mario Kart. I'll give it a try. And I was reading up on it, and it said that the enemies or other people on the track, you could shoot at them, and if you destroyed them or knocked them down, you got a speed boost. So it kind of adds a more combative element to the racing. So I'm interested in it. I'll see how it fares. I hope the graphics are a little bit better than the last time I played it, but we'll
Yeah.
we'll see.
They should use the Star Fox Super Nintendo graphics.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm not a big Star Fox guy. I loved the N64 Star Fox. I thought Star Fox 64 was awesome. But I didn't like the Super Nintendo one. I sure as hell didn't like that second one they stuck on the SNES Classic. I thought that was junk. I didn't like the Wii U one. I never even played the one that was on the GameCube. So I'm not the biggest fan of this series, but I really liked Star Fox Adventures. And again, this is like the episode where I talk about games I like that everyone shit on because everyone hated Star Fox Adventures, and I thought that game was pretty fun. But here's the thing, like I want a Mario Kart game that's more like Smash Brothers. I don't want just Mario characters. Give me everything across the spectrum like Smash Brothers does. Now I know that this game is trying to, from the rumors that we've read, it's trying to be more like Diddy Kong Racing. I don't know if any of you guys played Diddy Kong Racing, but that was a game that was made by Rare, and it was a kart racer, but it also had like an adventure mode, and they had boss battles and stuff in it. And apparently that's what they're trying to do here. This is going to be like a spiritual successor to that, and we haven't seen a racing game do that since then. So that's kind of a big deal. And apparently the rumors is going with sort of like an F-Zero kind of futuristic feel, where it's going to be sort of like a Wipeout in a way. If any of this is true, that definitely piques my interest a bit. Normally, when you tell me this is going to be some kind of spin-off racing game, I would shun it. But this is Retro Studios we're talking about here. These guys have a very clean track record of nothing but great games. And people are just been begging to know what they've been working on right now. And if this is it, I'm willing to give it a chance just because of the studios involved. That's enough for me. Elena, what about you? Any interest?
I also really, really like Star Fox Adventures. So
awesome. I'm glad I'm not the only one.
I'm being the contrarian today, I guess. Just shitting on stuff that people like and loving stuff that people hate, apparently. No, I love that game. I played it a lot on GameCube. I was again a wee lass. But this to me just looks like I'm kind of speculating whether this was, because I remember learning that Star Fox Adventures was originally like it's supposed to be another game, and it wasn't supposed to be a Star Fox game, but
Dinosaur
they made it
Planet was the name of, was originally supposed to be. Yep.
Yeah, it wasn't supposed to be Star Fox. So I kind of feel like this is supposed to be an F-Zero game a little bit. Like I kind of expect to see Captain Falcon pop out and be like, punch. But no, the only
punch.
exactly, man, and I want to see it, please. Like but no, the only other affiliation I have with Star Fox is I kind of like to play them in Smash sometimes when I feel like trolling my friends. But other than that, no, nothing. But yeah, just I feel like they're just trying to revitalize the franchise because I mean, at the end of the day, F-Zero, you know, you hear that and you're like, F-Zero, what is that? But most people know Star Fox. They're like, oh, that little Nintendo Fox kid, yeah, whatever. So I get why they would have done that, but that's kind of what it feels like to me. So I'm reading that a couple of people, or not a couple of people, some fans are pissed about that, about it being, you know, it's I have a feeling that's basically what happened, but I don't see myself buying it or being interested in it, as I've, you know, Star Fox Adventures isn't really a Star Fox game, so I don't have much to say about it.
All right, fair enough. Moving on, let's go to the Inside Xbox stream that happened today. This is their one from May. They're doing this every month now, so this is sort of Xbox's Nintendo Direct kind of thing, I guess you could call it. They just had one this evening. Not a lot of really interesting stuff in here, but there's a few notable things I wanted to mention. First and foremost, they have a Halo arcade light gun shooter coming out called Halo Raven Arcade. Fireteam Raven is the name of it. So they showed like these big wide screens and these big plastic guns, and people were shooting. It just looked like your typical rail shooter that was like House of the Dead or anything like that. So I don't know, any interest with you guys in this? I mean, when's the last time you even been to an arcade that carries modern games anyways?
Dude, I don't even know what to say. Like, what is Microsoft doing right now with their Xbox platform? It's just, I mean, it's such, it's so funny just to watch what they're doing. Like, no, I'm not interested. I'm not just like, I don't know like who like is what they're thinking right now. They're just like, hey, you know what? Like, we've already lost this console battle. We're not even going to release the numbers for the consoles that have been sold for the months anymore. Like, we're not letting people know how we're doing compared to PlayStation. Let's just try
stack returns.
Yeah. It's just like, let's just try some weird crap and see what sticks. Like, you know, let's put this game out there and see what happens. Do people like it? I don't know. Like, I see the stuff that they do and I laugh. I saw this list and I couldn't help but just giggle. Like, I don't know why. It's just weird.
So you need to tell me you don't want to go to a Dave and Buster's, get drunk, pop $1 into this, play 15 minutes until you die on the first level and forget it exists?
Yeah, wait until they pigeonhole you into that one corner where you're gonna get killed anyway, no matter what you do, so they can get another $1.50 out of you to play another 15 minutes in the game. No, thank you. I'm out.
Okay. Yeah, what about you, Elena? Any interest?
Just $1.50. You're absolutely right. That's exactly how much we're spending nowadays at Dave and Buster's to play games like that. No, I have no interest, and I'm just gonna drink some of Shannon's haterade because that was an intense spiel that I can kind of jump on board with. I think Xbox, out of all Xbox and Microsoft, I just pay next to no attention to, more on an as needed basis, and I just nope. Nope.
Yeah, as someone that was a big fan of these railgun shooter games like this, I just don't care. You know, like let me get drunk at Dave and Buster's and play Fruit Ninja. Like, I'd probably be happier with that. You know?
Spending less money too.
Yeah. I mean, at least with that, I can probably spend $1 cheaper and, you know, make a fool out of myself. But this ain't doing it. This ain't doing it for me, guys. Like, why are you wasting resources on this? I don't know.
I completely agree. I like we were saying about Bethesda, it just feels like they're doing it in a different way. You know what I mean? Like you should be focusing on other things, not this, you know, like maybe reprioritize where you're spending your time and money, you know?
Yeah, at least let me put on like a Master Chief helmet and have like a replica of a battle rifle or something, or make it VR. You know, like to me, if I'm going to have an arcade experience, it's going to like wow me. Like it would have to have something to do with VR.
That's a good point.
But are you gonna want to put somebody's like? I mean, how many heads are gonna be in that helmet, dude? You're gonna have such greasy nastiness in there. Oh my god!
Come out looking like a 15-year-old pizza face, all like acne ridden.
No, dude, they have like layers that are on the inside of the helmet that they take off and they replace them.
They say that. But
yeah.
I've actually seen them do it. So when the next person comes on, they take like this foam piece off and they replace it with a new one. Yeah, no, they don't have your sweaty ass head going.
Give me a sanitary wipe, yo, please.
Yeah,
please.
get some Lysol in there.
Lysol. Yeah. Getting high, you're like.
Yeah, no, they don't do that. So. But that would be funny if they did just let someone, you know, put their nasty face in there.
Oh, that's not funny.
Anyways, moving on. Halo Master Chief Collection update. They didn't really say much of anything. They're like, yeah, we're working on it. It's going to come out like sometime this year. But that's really all they said. So I don't really know why they even had those guys on stage. If you're not going to give us a big announcement, then just leave us alone and let us know when you do have something notable to say.
Something of substance, please.
Yeah, are any of you guys interested in going back to that game at all? Because it was a pretty big disaster when it released. I mean, are they lost on that one? Is it too late for them?
Dude, it's just more of the same. Don't even just wait until we get the end of Microsoft before I have anything positive to say.
All right, skipping Shannon then.
Zero.
Well, speaking of having positive things to say, they had a update on No Man's Sky for Xbox One.
2 years later, congratulations! Yeah. Well done, guys.
The game drops on Xbox One. The game drops on Xbox One on July 24th, and they're finally putting in multiplayer like they promised when this game before it came out. So I think the Xbox version of this is too expensive. You can buy this game for $20 now on PS4. I don't see why people would spend $50 on it, but I am curious about the changes they made. Now, I own the game. I have not touched it since it came out. I got some cool moments out of it, but for the most part, I put it away because I just didn't care. Like there was nothing there to keep me going. Now, I haven't played any of the new updates that they released for this game. I think now's the time where I probably should pop this back in and give it a shot. Now, have any of you guys played No Man's Sky? Am I the only one here that's played it?
No, I was a chump and bought it day one.
Ooh, so you're with me then. All right, I don't feel too bad.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, Shannon. I know you're probably going to poo-poo all over this, but you've already foretold your prophecy here on Microsoft. But what did you feel about that game? Like, let me know. I'm curious.
I'll tell you the first experience. You said it better in our chat. Like that first experience when you fly off the planet and you go into outer space for that first time. It gives you the best feeling. It's amazing. Like
that music that kicks in, it just adds to it. And it was like this. I don't know. I can't really describe the feeling it gave me, but it was probably one of the coolest moments from a game I've played this year. And that's probably the highest praise I can give that game. But
yeah, I was super stoked. Like the first time that you realized that you weren't stuck on one planet. That like if you were tired of this planet, as long as you had the fuel, you could go wherever you wanted to. That was amazing to me. That was great. Like, and I was expecting a little bit more of a challenge on each of the planets that you explored. Then but it was kind of cheapened because before that they also released that you couldn't you weren't going to be able to interact with other people. It was a solo experience, and it was kind of an isolationist like feeling when you were going to other planets, and it immediately became the most frustrating chore to get everything that you needed to get to do the things that you wanted to do on these planets. And after a while, I stopped caring about the people. I stopped caring about the limited interaction you did have with people. I hated the planets. I hated the things that were trying to kill you on the planets. Like it'd be one thing if there was some interest in them attacking you. After a while, I didn't care. I was like, please just kill me so I don't have to play this game anymore. Please. Like, I don't want to play it. That was my experience.
See, I had a very similar experience too. Once I got off that first planet, and I started hopping to other planets and realizing that there really wasn't much there to see. And all of the creatures were just kind of like slapped together, randomized stuff that weren't interesting. I mean, I lost interest in it pretty quick. But the thing for me is that I felt like the game, if it would have gave me the option to play without the survival elements, that I would have had more fun just going out and exploring. Like I love games where I can just get lost in them and just explore and check things out. This game, I felt like that would have worked with me if they would have let you do that, but they didn't. But they have that in there now, and I haven't even went back to check it out. So now you can build bases and all kinds of crap, and you can drive little rover vehicles, and like I feel like I might have a bigger appreciation for the game now than I did at launch. I really hope that they do get this game in a place where people are happy with it and it has its fans. Um, I do think the company was shitty with the way they communicated this game to us. But I don't really know what the full story was there, and I feel like someone needs to come out and give us that story.
It'll be a Netflix documentary soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Who's going to play Sean Murray in that one? You know who would play a good Sean Murray in a movie? Would be homeboy that played Spider-Man. Not the new one, but the last one.
Andrew Garfield.
Andrew Garfield, yeah.
Andrew Garfield. He kind of looks like him, but he can play him in the biopic of that Disaster Artist 2 or something like that. I don't know, but yeah, like we don't really know what the full story was there, and no one's really told us. So we don't know if it was the team's fault, if it was a publisher's fault for overhyping the game. Like we don't really know, but I do know a lot of people probably worked very hard on that game and were probably really bummed with the reception it got. And I hope it finally gets to that place where, you know, it's the game that we were all hoping it would be. I don't know if it'll happen, but I hope it does, because I think the game deserves it, because this is super ambitious and it's actually extremely cool with the tech. It just needs the content to keep you motivated to keep playing it. Otherwise, Xbox players, you can play that starting July 24th, and the PC and PS4 players get that update for free. So you don't have to rebuy like the game or a DLC update or anything like that. So
as it should be.
Yes,
as it should be.
Absolutely.
I just wish you could still play with people. That's the only thing I want. Just let me play with somebody else.
It's going to.
Oh, really?
That's what they're doing.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, you can run into other people that are exploring the universe. In this one, you can play with friends. You can go in aerial combat in space and stuff like that. Yeah, they're adding in all that stuff now. That's what this big update is. It's called the next update. So that's why I'm ready to reinstall it and give it another shot. I think that's a big thing for me this year. I'm going to play. Did you sell it, Shannon? Do you still have it?
No, I do have it. I bought it digitally on PlayStation.
We should go explore space together, man.
See if you can try to find your money. See if
yeah.
Sorry.
Go find space chicks. Where's the space women at?
Hey, the space ladies. I'm gonna give them my Space Jam.
Whoa.
Whoa, yeah,
I made that way worse than it should be, because that's a movie for children. I'm sorry.
Space Jam.
I'm sorry.
Oh man,
it was a good movie, but it made really gross.
Had this image in my head of the guys from like Night at the Roxbury in a spaceship. He's like,
I'm just imagining Lola, girl for Lola forever. Lola Bunny.
Whoa.
I'm revealing secrets. Oh no.
5 episodes in and we hit the weird mark. All right.
Yeah.
So we're going.
You hit the weird mark with me day one. You know that.
Here comes the anime fetishes, everyone.
Oh no, it's free. No, God.
Oh, whoa. Here, there we go.
Well, it's kind of both, but okay. All right. Anyways, let's talk less about masturbating over female bunnies, and let's keep going forward here.
What I want.
Yeah, Microsoft. So let's talk about the Microsoft accessibility controller that they announced here too. This was a big deal, and I think this is extremely cool. Now, Shannon, I know you're poo-pooing on Microsoft right now, but you got to give them props for this.
Look, I'll tell you right now. Like, I work in a trade that is very. It's common to have a lot of injuries with your body, and a lot of those are amputations, whether it be fingers or like whole limbs. And it's always like I know it's, if you're careful, it's a small possibility that it'll happen, but it's something that always scared me. My grandpa lost a finger working in the same trade that I'm in. And it messed his hand up for a while. And for me, like I've had some, broken fingers and things like that, and it's made playing video games challenging. So to see that there is a controller out there for people who are disabled or who want to get into gaming that way, it definitely piqued my interest, and it made me it kind of gave me like this sense of relief, and in some morbid type of way, like if I lost a hand, like I'd still be able to play video games. Like so I mean,
the bummers they gotta play it on Xbox.
I know, right?
Microsoft, this is how they get me.
But yeah, damn it. Like Stumpy, you're like right over here. But yeah, I mean, it's great. Like I mean, it's something that I've thought about a long time and like wanted to see how it was going to work, and to see them actually come out with this controller, it made me happy. And I was interested in it.
Yeah, the thing for me, as I follow the charity Able Gamers a lot. I don't know if you guys ever heard of them. They're a charity that is all about spreading awareness about people with disabilities playing games, and they help fund like the creations of a lot of these kind of makeshift peripherals to help people play games. And I think it's extremely cool. I love to support those people and see what they do and what they create, and I think it's an awesome charity. So I thought of those people the first time I saw this controller pop up. So just anything that lets someone engage in our favorite hobby is a big deal to me. There's a lot of people out there with disabilities that can't hold a controller, and I applaud like developers like Naughty Dog that were able to let you tweak the controls. So like people who can't hold buttons or mash buttons, during a QTE segment or something like that, they would have a setting where you can just press it once or just hold it instead. They had a lot of stuff like that in there, and even the way you use the analog sticks to help people with disabilities still be able to play and enjoy the game. Like I love when developers do stuff like that. And Microsoft investing money in this thing is it's the first big company we've seen do this for people, because every other controller I've seen for disabled people has been some kind of makeshift thing that they have created that wasn't official, and it probably wasn't the best product that they could be using to play these games. So I highly applaud Microsoft for this. The first time I saw this controller, though, I thought it was a DJ Hero controller.
Yeah,
kind of right.
So it kind of looks like a turntable, but they look like they have speaker ports running all along the back of this thing, and each one represents a different button on an Xbox controller. And you can plug in all these different modular controllers to represent that button for you. And they had stuff that looked like Joy-Cons. They had stuff that looked like Wii, the nunchucks on the Wii. They had stuff that where you could use the palm of your hands to control things, and the foot pedals that look like a kick drum on a drum kit where you could use your feet to play these games. And they showed some people with some pretty serious disabilities playing with this thing, and it was just really cool to see them be able to play these games with this special controller. Now, I don't know if this is something that we're going to see in stores. I mean, do you guys see this in a Best Buy or anything like that? Like, I feel like this is something you'd have to specially order.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's something that, I mean, the market's there. It's just not a huge market.
Yeah, I agree with you. And just I kind of want to channel my inner Zach right now and just look at this from a marketing standpoint. I think this is going to put Microsoft like a step head above the rest, I guess is the phrase. I'm bad with phrases tonight, but I think this is important, and I think this is really going to pave the way for a lot of other, people will be following suit. You know what I mean? I guarantee, Sony's going to be doing this in a year's time. Nintendo hopefully eventually is going to be doing this as well. And I really think this is very important. And I'm surprised it hasn't happened sooner, but I'm glad it's happening now. And it's so pure. Shannon was like, this makes me happy. And I completely agree. This makes me happy. Like that's all I really have to say about it. It's a good thing.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I'm wondering to see how they market this thing and sell it. I'm assuming that this is probably something you'd have to go on Microsoft.com and probably order. But because this isn't going to fly off the shelves at a Best Buy or anything. But yeah, they are sending out like notices to people like, hey, if you know someone with serious disabilities and this controller would help them, like get in touch with us. It looks like they're going to give some of these away for free for some people to kind of get the word out there and spread, sort of like a marketing thing. So if anyone's listening and they have some like a child or a family member or anything that has a serious disability that this would help them, reach out to the folks at Microsoft, because apparently they're hooking people up with these things to kind of get people to test it and get their opinions on it. So you might get a free one. You
can hit us up and we can help you out too. Let us know and we can help you out as best we can at least.
Yeah, we can break Shannon's arms and let him.
No. Oh, no. He has I can't think of a profession that makes me more skeeved out because I can't. That phobia of elevators, man. You are my hero. You scare me a little bit. That's intimidating that you do that willingly.
So what is it that injures people? Is it the cables?
No, so I mean, there's a lot of stuff. Like electricity is a pretty big one. Like we deal with a lot of high voltages, like usually around 480 volts. So like if you touch that and you're, I mean, in addition to possibly dying, if you do hit something with it for a prolonged period of time, there's going to be a lot of flesh missing. Also, there's a lot of moving components, like for the door, to move the doors, the gears up in, or the machines that actually run the elevators up in the machine rooms. Those have a lot of moving parts and components that can slam shut on you, if power is removed. You just have to pay attention to a lot of the parts. I mean, like the elevator, you always want to think, there's the propensity for it to move if the power is on. So if you're circuit tracing or you're troubleshooting and you jump out a circuit or you jump out a relay, you might bypass something in the safety circuit that was stopping that elevator from running. So now, if you're not paying attention, there's a lot of moving parts around you, and there's a lot of ways that this can go bad fast. So you just, I mean, my grandpa, with his instance, we're not really supposed to wear metal. It's a great conductor. So, if you're sticking your head in a controller, you probably don't want to wear glasses with metal frames because you can connect 2 points and then the electricity is going straight through your head. You always want to, make sure that, your wedding ring's not on, because that's like the easiest thing for you to bump your hand on, something electrical, especially if you're holding onto a metal cabinet. My grandpa, he just happened to be working on a door operator, and the older style ones kind of had this like chain gear, and his ring got caught in the gear and it pulled his finger into the assembly, and it just kind of smashed it right off.
I had to mute my mic so you guys can't hear me chewing my fingernails down to the quick. Like I just am, oh goodness.
So is this like passed down through generations in your family or something? Did Jebediah Moore start this back in 1889 or something?
In all honesty, it has become a bit of a family trade. I am the 3rd generation elevator mechanic in my family.
Kind of sick. I'm not gonna lie. Like you're like one of those unspoken heroes of society, where like if you didn't do your job, you know what I mean? Like in a way, I'm totally like stroking your ego, but like you help save people's lives in the sense that like they're not dying because you did your job right. You know what I'm saying? Like, so thank you for doing your job right, and please continue to do your job.
Yeah, you never see us, and then when you do see us, it's usually because something went horribly wrong,
or you're trying to prevent something from going horribly wrong. Oh
yeah,
my goodness!
Yeah.
They need to have like a movie about you guys. It's sort of like Backdraft, like a firefighter, but like the elevator people, like the untold stories of the elevator repairmen.
Yeah, I see it being like Ghostbusters, man, like something reminiscent of that, where there's just like just a theatrical masterpiece.
Yeah, my wife will sit there with me and we'll watch like Die Hard or Speed or like any movie where there's like an elevator in it, and she'll be like, "Is that really what an elevator looks like on the car top?" And I'll be like, "No, that's not." They always remove something. They always, like in some they remove like the ropes that hold the elevator. In some, like the rollers are missing. In some there's no counter. There's like, I mean, like I could get into this another time.
Can I ask one question? Just one question, because we were talking about The Last of Us earlier. How close did they get it in The Last of Us for the elevator scenes? Do you remember those scenes where?
No, I'd have to look them up and then I'll tell you.
I need to know, man. I've always wondered about that. I was like, wow, that looks so realistic. And then I'm like, Lena, you don't know what an elevator looks like outside of an elevator. Like,
I'll start sending you guys pictures in the group chat, like on a daily basis. I'll be like, this is an elevator. This is the car top. This is
not.
This is a safety. This is not a safety. And like you guys will be elevator people in a while.
You're like the Neil deGrasse Tyson of elevator. You know how he rates like sci-fi movies based on like astrophysics and stuff. And if they're like real, you should do that with movies. Start a blog.
Awesome. Or just send like we'd have a segment for you on the podcast where I'd be like, well, it would be webcam based, but you could show a photo like in a video game, like this is not what it looks like, and then show what it's supposed to look like instead and be like, this is what it looks like. Take notes, devs, take notes, programmers, take notes.
Yes, welcome to Elevator Hour with Shannon Moore.
You can be the official video game industry elevator consultant.
Hell yeah!
You would be the first. I honestly think you would be the first too. They say everything's already been done, but I don't know, man. There's a market out there.
Elevator Simulator 2016.
Yeah.
That's your new nickname. Oh shoot.
All right. Anyways, last thing about Inside Xbox that's interesting here. They I'm sorry, Elena, did you have any thoughts on the accessibility controller? I didn't really ask you.
No, I talked about it in passing. It's just something I'm really excited about. I think it's going to pave the way and think it's a good thing.
Awesome. The last thing is they announced a Sea of Thieves update, but at this point, who gives a shit about Sea of Thieves? So I'm not even going to bother. Nothing even really stood out about it to me that was like going to make the game significantly better. I don't know. I played that game. I put hours into it. I really don't see any reason to return to it unless they completely overhauled it. So whatever. So that's Inside Xbox. So unfortunately, they had no new backwards compatibility games to announce or anything like that. They closed the show with a bunch of people in a zombie themed escape room that was themed off of State of Decay 2, and it was boring as shit. And then when it was over, they did it again with like British people. And I
this
just
is
like
The Office. Why? Well, but that's backwards. But you get what I mean.
So I picked up my Switch and I started playing Wonder Boy on my Switch while this thing was running because I was hoping that when it was over we would get more announcements, and then they just quit it. It was over. So I'm like, really, you just wasted all my time with this stupid, non-fun, no entertainment whatsoever, this zombie survival room thing. I don't know, it was stupid, but hopefully next month. Yeah, hopefully E3. Hopefully next month we'll get some more. Apparently, the next Inside Xbox is going to be their E3 presentation. They said so. Yeah, there's that. All right, moving on. We got another big another big rumor. I'm sorry, this week that Pokemon's apparent names for the new games that are coming out on the Switch that are rumored this year is going to be Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. Apparently, these games may be unconventional too. They may not be the Pokemon games you're expecting. Now, I know a lot of people have been begging and pleading Nintendo to make a console version of a Pokemon traditional game, and we thought we're going to finally get it. And there's a possibility that we may not. Any Pokemon fans here? And what do you guys think of this rumor?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan, unfortunately. So
Zach is a big Pokemon fan. It sucks he's not here right now. Yeah. But that man does not feel like a Pokemon fan at all. He eats up Pokemon.
I'm always surprised to hear that. Zach does not strike me as the type of person to like. I feel like he would complain about like like how repetitive each. Because that's one of my criticisms is like the main games is like you're really gonna sell me the same game twice, and then in a year from now sell me the same game again with a couple added features. And I think Pokemon, the franchise overall, is proof that I personally am getting old, because the older I get, the more when these games came out, they would be as a child or as a young adult, I would only have so much expendable income. And I no matter what, I would be there day one for the new main Pokemon games. You know what I mean? Emerald, we're talking Ruby, we're talking, Pearl and all that jazz. But now it's just like Moon and Sun came out, and apparently Zach loves it if I recall correctly, but I was just like, I haven't beat it yet. It's been a long time. I still get light shit for it amongst my friends for not beating it, but I don't see myself being tremendously interested in this outside of I've heard there might be some. So we see Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee. If there's any kind of like Pokemon Go integration, I'm going to be really happy, because I play Pokemon Go more than I play any Pokemon game at this point. The mobile, I have I've spent money on the Pokemon Go Plus that's garbage. Inevitably bought a Pokemon Go show. We could get into that. I don't want to, but I've spent way too much on external devices. But if there's any implementation of that, I'm going to be very interested.
I don't know how they're going to do that on a Switch without LTE and stuff, though.
I'm hearing rumors. I just want to believe the lie. Let me believe the lie.
Okay, I'll let you have that one then. We'll keep believing. Shannon, what about you? You Pokemon fan?
I'll tell you. Going back to my earlier statement, I kind of gave you some fake news. I do have The Switch isn't my most, it hasn't been my first Nintendo purchase since Super Nintendo. I did have a 3DS. I don't know if that counts, but
yes, it counts. Of course
a console. So
oh, come on, it counts.
but I have dabbled. I got Ruby, and it
you sound like someone that does drugs. Like, yeah, I partake.
Socially, everyone's
drug too.
Socially,
yeah,
I'll get high.
It's like a type of E or something. But yeah, I tried it. It was fun. It just didn't hold my attention for a while. I also did get into the Pokemon Go like hype in the beginning. And my wife and I did go out and try to capture like whatever was around us, and we got caught up in the hysteria, and it was fun. But after a while, it lost its luster. And to get on Zach's defense a little bit, the family dynamic is an important aspect of that game. His son, his wife, his wife is huge into Pokemon Go. I mean, she's on the Discord channels all the time, like
apparently
looking
she's
for gym battles.
hardcore, man.
Dude, really? I need to have a conversation with her now. Well, more than ever. Shoot.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that's what draws him to that game is the bonding time with his family. The going out and exploring and having those moments is fun.
But I think he was big in this traditional Pokemon even before Go.
I can only defend so much. And I'm not defending. I'm just saying I see the aspects of that. And maybe if my son was older, I would be playing it more because I would have somebody to play with. But here I am. It's hard for me to play that game by myself and be like, hey guys, what's going on? I play Pokemon Ruby. Like, here I am over here. Here's my Charizard. Like, have fun with this.
Over here at the park.
Yeah, standing there. Hey guys. But no,
I'm not a pedophile.
That's you guys have it rough too, because I can go, for the most part, I can go anywhere and do anything, and people are like, okay, that grown ass woman's playing Pokemon, but like whatever. Whereas you see a lone dude and his, like even my age, just kicking it. They're like, what are you doing at this park? Like just pressing buttons on your screen, boo, go away. When I can sit there happily and just be like,
I know. I think you're like trying to take pictures of some weird skeezy people and stuff like that. You're like, you have your phone up and you're like tapping buttons. People think you're just rapidly taking pictures. It's not
posing for Instagram selfies or some shit like that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I remember when Pokemon Go came out, like that was a big deal. Like I remember because my son, is 3.5, and when that game came out, he was like a year old or something. I think. I mean, that came out a couple years ago, right?
Yeah.
And we would take my son to the park all the time. And I remember after this came out, we would go to the park, and the park would be full of people when there would normally never really be anyone at the park. And they were all just flooded with their phones in their hands, like walking around like zombies, trying to, flick and catch these Pokemon. My wife thought it was the weirdest thing ever. And she's like, what the fuck is going on in this park with all these hipsters walking around like, with their phones in their hands? And because my wife's not a gamer and she doesn't really understand what it was or what it was trying to do or anything. And the whole time I remember we were walking in the park and she kind of leaned over to me while we're pushing the stroller. She goes, what the fuck are all these people doing with their phones? This is so weird. I'm sitting next to her with my phone out like, oh man, I almost got Pikachu, and
that's about right. That's what's up.
And she's like, oh no, not you too. But
she's like, no.
But I don't see too many more people out doing that anymore.
We all do it in silence and in shame.
Oh, okay. I honestly think this is still going to be a traditional Pokemon game. I think maybe they're just taking the Go naming convention and maybe trying to draw in more people who got into Pokemon through Pokemon Go. And that might be a little marketing technique there. I don't know. I hope this is a traditional Pokemon game because that's what I want. In a console style environment that I can still play on the go. That sounds awesome to me. Let's Go could also be like the portable aspect of it too, with the naming. I don't really know, but I think it's weird that they're going back to Eevee and Pikachu.
That's one of my criticisms.
Yeah, maybe they're running out of colors. I don't know. To name these things off of, but and objects and stuff now. But yeah, I don't know, man. I'm still not convinced this game's coming out this year.
I don't know. All I know is I'd bet money at this point that it's not going to be it's not going to be a traditional Pokemon game. I can tell by the name. You know what I mean? Like just a longtime avid fan, I'd be really, really surprised if this was anything other than something new and weird.
Yeah, if it's another one of those stadium games, I'm gonna be pissed.
I would love a stadium game. Oh my god.
No,
Yep. Give me it. Just me. No, fine. You guys don't need it. It's fine. It's mine now.
That last one for the Switch was hot garbage.
That would be kind of cool if like you could go and like you could play Pokemon Go and like catch your Pokemon and then transfer those to the Switch game and then like battle them or something.
Yeah, they had like a bank like that years ago, and it was like in a cloud or some shit. I don't remember, but like I'm just too old for this nowadays. I feel like, man, I wish I like.
I could definitely see this being some sort of companion to Pokemon Go in that regard, but I don't know. We'll find out at E3, hopefully. I'm sure the rumor is that that's going to be a big focus for them at E3 here in a couple of weeks. So we'll see how that goes. All right. And last big story I wanted to talk about, which is we're going to end this on sort of a sour note here. Boss Key Studios closed down this week, and that is Cliff Bleszinski's independent third-party studio that he opened up several years ago. And he shut it down this week, man. This is the developers that created Lawbreakers, that sort of arena hero-based shooter that flopped pretty hardcore. About a month ago, they released a game called Radical Heights 2. That was an early access battle royale game. And that game was kind of getting some decent attention, and some big streamers and stuff were playing it. And I guess they just gave up on it, man. It must not have been doing what they needed it to do. And they shut the studio down completely. Now, it sucks that Zach's not here, because we were talking about this through our chat, and Zach and I were approaching this story in two completely different ways. Zach was kind of approaching it in a more business, financial way, and I was approaching it more as a consumer kind of way. And Zach and Shannon were kind of both on the same page here. So hopefully Shannon is a good substitute here. So Shannon, I'm going to go ahead and throw this at you. What do you think happened here?
There's a lot of things. The video game market is pretty volatile, and unfortunately there's not a lot of room to make a lot of mistakes. And you come out the gate with an idea to come out with like this. I don't know if it was one of the earlier battle royale type games, or arena style like shooting games. Like kind of over like, and it came out, and I think it came out around the same time Overwatch came out, right? Like around that time.
I think it was a little bit later.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, Overwatch had already come out with like it came out of the gate so strong. I mean, I don't think there was really a market for it. And I think, in the development cycle for this game, they saw that this was probably going to be an issue going up against a Goliath like Overwatch. But because they were so deep in the development cycle, they couldn't really change what the game was going to be. So they decided to put the game out and mitigate the losses that they were already occurring from developing this game. That's one theory. Another one is you have strong personalities. I mean, Cliffy B's always been known to be a very boisterous, loud, overconfident individual, and I think you put that guy in charge of people developing a video game, and it's going to be his way or the highway. I think sometimes you need to have a little bit more of an open mind and be a little bit more malleable to the situation and be flexible. And I think that maybe that rigidity and that hubris maybe kind of did him in a little bit in the end.
Yeah, because gamers kind of hate Cliffy B. I'm just going to throw that out there. Like when Lawbreakers was going through its decline, you could go to just about any video game community, and they were all applauding this game failing. Like they wanted Cliffy to fail from the start. He does, get on Twitter and call people out and, talk a lot of shit. I remember what was her name, Olivia Munn. Like he was saying that she's a fake gamer girl and she appropriates nerd culture and all this crazy stuff that's probably not true about her. And yeah, and he had a big fight with her, and I mean, and it came out of nowhere too.
He was probably proud to get into a fight with Olivia Munn.
Yeah,
like, whoa, I fought with Olivia Munn.
Probably trying to bang her, and she probably didn't want to, and so he probably did that as a
classic.
Yeah,
classic.
I don't know, but he's definitely he rubs people the wrong way at times, and I don't hate Cliffy B at all. I think the guy needs to chill sometimes with how he speaks about people and stuff, and maybe keep some of that stuff to himself. I don't know. He boasts about, I mean, for a while he was boasting about his wealth and stuff for a while and stuff too, but I do think the guy is talented, and but I think that he needs someone to kind of reel him in. And so, like Shannon said, if he's in charge of his own studio, maybe he didn't have that person to kind of keep him in check like they did at Epic, and that might have hurt him. And I think gamers, I think gamers were wanting him to fail. So there was already a big chunk of people that weren't going to support him, regardless. But here's the thing: I played Lawbreakers, and Lawbreakers wasn't a bad game. It was pretty fun. I actually enjoyed what I played of it. The problem is that it had horrible art. The game, like the characters look stupid. You play Overwatch and you fall in love with those characters. Blizzard did such a good job at making them relatable and fun and cutesy and colorful. And this game, they were bland and they look like some 12-year-olds fucking notebook what they scribbled on in middle school. Like it was.
I like Call of Duty. Here's how and why and what I would like him to look like.
I want a soldier who's got knives for legs. It's like,
sorry.
It's just, it's just that's the kind of shit you got with that game, and it tried to be really edgy. And even the campaign, like the marketing campaign, was like super edgy, and he was taking shots at Overwatch and stuff. And I don't know, man. I think it was a combination of the game came out in an oversaturated market.
Mm-hmm.
You had a million multiplayer games that were doing different things, and people had so many options, and they were going with the heavy hitters, and they weren't a heavy hitter, and the game failed to find an audience. And I think that just hurt them, and it continues. Radical Heights was a last-ditch effort. It started hemorrhaging players just like Lawbreakers did. So yeah, I mean, I think the writing was on the wall there, but I just wonder how much of it was Cliffy, and people just not into him. I know that he was pitching a lot of different games to a lot of publishers, and no one was taking his pitches. And some of them he shared on Twitter, and they actually sounded pretty cool, like the one with the dragons, where you're fighting with the dragons and the ninjas and stuff. Like the samurais look kind of cool. But I'm just wondering if he burnt bridges with his, because he worked at Epic for the longest time. He helped create Gears of War, and now he's talking shit about Epic stealing his employees and stuff, And
yeah, I saw that tweet.
And he seems kind of salty, and I'm just wondering if he burnt some bridges and people just don't want to work with him. Yeah. I don't know. Like I hate shit talking the guy here. I don't know him. I've never met him. I was like 2 feet away from him at E3, but I didn't get a chance to talk to him. I mean, I think he rubs people the wrong way, and I think that kind of reputation followed him, and I think that hurt him, and I think that hurt his team. And they just didn't design the game that they needed to, and I think they really needed better art in that game. And yeah, I don't know, Elena, you got anything to add to that? I mean, it's a shame. It's definitely a shame. I feel bad for the employees that lost their jobs, but luckily in that area they have a lot of different studios that can hopefully pick them up. I know Blizzard was offering to take some of their employees, so that's good. Elena, you have anything to add?
Blizzard, good guy Blizzard, man. And so
Yep.
that's kind of the difference I was noticing. I think personally ad hominem like marketing, where you like when a company attacks another company blatantly, I think that's tacky. Like as a consumer, I don't enjoy it personally. And to hear that they were kind of going after the Goliath, like Shannon said, which is Overwatch, it's just like you can't do that. That's in bad taste, and it puts a bad taste in consumers' mouth even before they purchase the game. Like why would that make me want to rush out and buy the game? But I do
everything that I remember them saying was like, "Oh yeah, our game ain't no $60 multiplayer only bullshit," is what he kept saying, and he was obviously taking shots at Overwatch. But I think that's the extent of the shots that were taken towards it. I don't think he was blatantly.
Okay, not like blatant marketing where it was just like, buy our product instead of bullshit fucking Overwatch. Okay, I understand.
Yeah, it wasn't like, fuck Overwatch, man. Come play with Lawbreakers. Play with guys with knife legs, you know?
He still seems like, I like knife legs, man. I actually drew him on my paper right here. It does not look good. It looks about how it looks in the game. No, I'm just playing. No, it's the market is oversaturated, and you know, even if you don't make a mistake, even if you make a good game, it's still, there's still a chance it's just not going to be profitable, especially with, and games are getting more and more expensive to make nowadays, especially for new IPs, and you just can't. I think they were making a calculated risk, but I think it was just bad luck, and they were in the wrong place at the wrong time both times. They, you know, and I worry a little bit too much, or I worry that they cared a little bit too much about the flavor of the month. Like, oh, let's do, you know, something reminiscent. Maybe not, maybe I'm wrong, but the whole battle royale thing definitely was like, y'all are just trying to bounce back as hard as you can, right? There was like an air of not desperation, because the game looked cool and I haven't played it, so I can't talk too much shit, but it did, you know, it did feel like they were jumping on what was hot. Yeah.
Yeah, I did play it. I played one match and uninstalled it. And the reason why is because it felt like a prototype. It didn't feel like it was in beta or early access. Or I mean, normally when you release an early access game, the core of the game is there. It's just not fully featured, you know? This game just felt like a prototype. There's assets that were missing. There was placeholder assets. Everything was just, it felt so horribly unfinished and clunky that to me, it just turned me off and I just uninstalled it. You know, I mean, they did have some cool ideas with it, the way cash worked and upgrades and how it was like a game show and stuff like that was pretty cool. But otherwise, like, I think they released it too early. Like that game needed to cook longer, but they threw it out there as a last ditch effort, and it just didn't work. I mean, you had some big streamers like Dr. Disrespect and stuff playing it, but they went right back to Fortnite.
Still wasn't enough.
And PUBG pretty fast. So yeah, you know, hopefully this isn't the last we see at Cliffy though. Hopefully he'll bounce back in some way. Like I recommended, kickstart something. You know, if you feel like you're a big player in the industry, let the people speak for you and start a Kickstarter and see if you can get one of these things going. Some of those games he pitched were really cool, and maybe people will support him on Kickstarter and he can get something more going, you know? I don't know, but I feel bad for him in a way. You know, hopefully, I'm sure I definitely don't want to kick the dude when he's down, and a lot of people are right now. They're applauding, you know, this failure that he's going through, but hopefully it won't last long and he'll bounce back in some way. But
he said he was going to spend this time with his family and his loved ones, so I think that's something that maybe, you know, maybe he spent too much time in the industry and needs to like really take stock in what's, you know, don't get me wrong, the industry is important, but maybe he can just balance a little bit. Maybe the scales have been tipped a little too far and he needs to get them balanced, so I hope he can do that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, let's start wrapping this up. We've been running for quite some time. You guys have anything you want to close with at all before we head out of here?
Everything that I really want to talk about is going to take a really long time to talk about. So, and
until next week.
Yeah, I'll probably just table it until next week. The only thing I want to say is that's a sweet ass chair, Elena. That's a sweet chair.
I made it myself. Look at, I named her Sassafras. I love her.
She knitted the mesh and everything.
that mesh is, yeah, that's all me. No, yeah. So I'm just swimming in stuff that I built my own. I feel like really cool. I'm not gonna lie, like having built all this stuff on my own is something I've really enjoyed doing, but I'm broke. I have no money anymore. I can't buy video games because I bought a desk and I bought a chair.
Adulting sucks, right?
Some other stuff that I want to talk about next week. That's actually part of my yeah, and adulting does suck, man. Like I'm done. I want to go to bed. It's nap time. I want a beer and a nap.
You want a beard?
Yeah, true too. Yeah, I want a beard too, man. Especially after God of War. All y'all have beards, and I'm just sitting here like I want to get puke in my beard. All right, I'm sorry. No, thanks for the compliment, man. The chair is, yeah, I'm digging it. But I spent a lot of money. My bad is that I got a phone. I got a new phone, and I had to send it back because it wasn't right. It wasn't proper. It wasn't what it was supposed to be. I kind of want to talk about that in the future, though. I feel like we should have a phone cast or something like that, because we all in the chat, we were going off. We all have opinions on this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, maybe we'll head into that like next week or something. We had this whole conversation about Android versus iOS and stuff, which would be fun to talk about. So maybe we'll do that soon when we have less to talk about for the week. But
for sure. But the good for me is just I got Memorial Day off. That's great. I just found out today that I got Memorial Day off, and then one more thing. Look what I got. Yeah,
and that's Amiibo. I got one of those.
This is my first Amiibo, you guys. We're creating a monster. If you guys are watching on the Wish, don't you're like, good job, Elena. Good job.
You should see my Amiibo collection. I got quite a few.
Oh wait, I got one too. I only have one. Let's see.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I feel like the very first Amiibo you have says a lot about your character. You know what I mean? Like, what was your very first Amiibo, Josh? Your very first one.
Whoa. My shit just disconnected. I think I pulled my webcam out.
Yeah, I'm staring at a Triforce and a Pikachu.
Oh, wait, there we go.
Oh, those curtains are sick. Yes, sir. We could see.
There you go. See that whole cabinet right there? That's all Amiibos.
Jesus.
There should be fine china there, and instead there is fine.
Yeah, it's
There's fine made in China.
Hutch, and it's full of Amiibos. I kid you not.
Nice. That's awesome. That is very cool, man.
Yep,
so I'm creating a monster. I'll have a fat collection by this time next week. So there's all my money.
Too. There's a Lucas Amiibo for Earthbound, and I have him too.
Lucky.
Yep. Nice.
I want expendable income. Give me that. What about you, man? What about you, Josh? What's up?
Same shit, different week.
Yes.
I mean, that's all I got to say.
Preach, friend, preach.
Yeah, so nothing exciting for me this week, unfortunately. But
I was going to say, I'll give you a little Easter egg for next week. I blew out the crotch in a pair of my pants, and because my underwear is relatively bright, like I like the bright colored underwear, it looked like I basically had like an Easter egg hanging out between the bottom of my pants. So, hey, tune in next week and you'll find out the whole story.
That took me a solid second to understand, because I don't have those parts. I was like, wait a minute, does he have like a tail or something like from birth? And then I was like, no, the other side. Y'all, great, thanks for the Easter egg. I get it too. It's
that was an image I didn't want in my head, but okay.
It was an image for me that evolved. It became something, and then it evolved into something else. And I'm ready for bed.
All right. Let's head out of here for the week. Don't forget to hit us up on Twitter at That Pixel Life. Give us some feedback. Shoot us some DMs. Tweet at us. Whatever you want to do. Don't forget, guys, to drop those iTunes reviews as well. We really appreciate that. If you don't mind taking a minute to do so. Also, spread the love. Spread this show to your friends, your family, your coworkers, whoever you want. Let them know about That Pixel Life, and it helps us grow and hopefully get in more people's ears. So that'll be it for us this week. Thank you guys once again for tuning in. We hope you guys all have an awesome weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
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 Bye.